Hello, everybody. It's Level 1 news, and it's January 12th, and it's all business today. Woo!
So much the beginning of your business.
Lots of business stories. Of course, there's lots of new hardware and lots of new announcements and stuff. Companies don't go too crazy here, but we did have CES, and wasn't there another trade show?
A lot of people were asking if we were going to go to CES, and I was like, I don't think anyone's going to CES.
No one cares about CES.
Well, they did announce some things, but the first thing we need to talk about is hyperinflation. Because
pretty sure that word's going on the list too.
Oh yeah.
During Hflation, money needs to go somewhere. Hot money. Where's it going to go? Well, I think a lot of it is going into a certain stock.
Apple becomes the first U.S. company to reach $3 trillion market cap. That makes sense. They totally have an amazing product. You know, I saw I don't know if it was mentioned in this article, but the article that I read that covered this, 87% of people aged 18 or 16 to 25 iPhones.
Oh, I saw that too, and I was like, really?
Wait a minute. So the Android is...
It's the old people phone.
The old people have to be overwhelmingly the other direction, right?
One of the things in the article that I read that was cited for reasoning that is something called Apple bullying. In iMessage, if you don't all have iPhones, it colors whoever doesn't have an iPhone, their messages are green.
Oh, I would wire that with pride.
Yeah.
Green power.
Yeah, but, the teens are horrible people. It's like, do we really want
you don't have an iPhone.
The Android user in our group iMessage chat? Because children are terrible.
Oh, look, everybody, it's me, the green pureblood. Deal with it. I wouldn't be in a group chat to begin with.
Have you guys been doing this? I noticed I've had this happen to me twice now where my phone number has, I guess, ended up in some sort of like marketing thing. So it's like just a group message and it's a bunch of random numbers, but they're all like in numerical order.
I've never had that.
I've had that happen to me, I think once or twice now. I had that happen the other day. It was very annoying.
You should go online and get one of those like horrific pictures of unwanted nudes some guy has sent and just send that into the group chat.
I reported it to the FCC. They have a form for that kind of thing.
Krista, you're such a snitch.
I am.
Well, and you know what? The other thing about that $3 trillion market cap, remember the last big announcement we got from Apple was that they were scaling back iPhones because they couldn't sell them.
Yeah.
That's weird. But maybe they'll be able to sell this, although if this is AR, it looks a little unwieldy to be wearing on the streets, don't you think?
Yeah.
Unless you want to be really cool.
Apple's mixed reality headset, set to launch in 2022, will be equipped with 3 displays, according to a research report, MOLED and 2 OLED real high resolution. We have no idea what the third display could be used for, but that really doesn't sound like an augmented reality headset. Augmented reality headset would be something like a pair of glasses, where mostly you see the real world through your glasses, and then there's a little bit of heads up or outlines of something like that.
Also, are you going to walk through a rough city wearing that $1,200
Absolutely
thing
not.
on your head?
No.
And you don't see when somebody's coming to snatch it off? They did say that the possibility for those cheaper displays might be that they're experimenting with a periphery where resolution doesn't matter because you only see the periphery. That's interesting. But that will not be the only choice. Well, I guess this is not really AR, right? This one's definitely going to be a tether, but I bet it'll be a lot cheaper.
Sony gives first details on next-gen PSVR2 headset for PS5. 2,000 by 2,000 resolution for each eye. That's going to be for the PS5. It's also got an expanded field of view over the first VR headset.
Is this...
No one can get a PS5.
Maybe this is an engagement challenge. Do we pronounce that foveated or foveated?
I think it's foveated.
Foveated?
I don't know, though. I should know because that's come up in a lot of A&D's press presentations.
So, yeah. They already had the one that came with the PS5. I think people were somewhat happy with that. But this one's going to make it a lot cooler.
Yeah.
And the other thing that's going to be a lot cooler that's coming from Sony is a hot new kind of Pixel. That's right. Every year we have to have a new kind of Pixel, and they've done it with quantum dots.
Sony announces the world's first quantum dot OLED 4K TV coming late this year. Samsung did have an announcement. This Verge article was like, Samsung hasn't said anything yet. They have now.
So this is supposed to compete with the regular OLED.
Except not have burn-in.
It's got a different kind of technology. We'll see. We'll see who wins. There is a lot of choice. I'm thinking about buying a TV. There's a lot of options right now.
Yeah.
I've been very happy with the OLED that I bought, and it's only exhibiting minor signs of burn-in, and that's from heavy usage.
For how long?
Like 8-10 hours a day.
But I mean, it's like how long?
Over a year. It's like 18 months.
See, I need it to run for 5-6 years at least.
It's probably going to be pushing it.
But there's a lot of choices when it comes to TVs, right? But one TV that you might want to put on the do not buy list is Samsung, because unfortunately I believe that all the companies will do this, right?
Yeah.
You think
Yes.
any TV company will avoid this?
This is like, it's like we shouldn't buy the TVs because it's a smart TV. It's like everybody has smart
Yeah.
TVs.
And what's funny is because this is the dumbest thing that you could do on
The
a TV.
dumbest smart TV ever. Samsung is putting NFTs in its smart TVs. You can now board ape with live TV.
That's funny because she probably wrote that before the Bored Apes were all stolen.
I don't think it was all of them, but an art gallery lost their entire Bored Ape collection, which had like 10 in it.
Yeah, and if you put them on your TV hot wallet storage, you're gonna lose them.
Yeah.
NVIDIA has a new flagship GPU, and as I understand it, these are really easy to get, right?
There's not even any details about this one. The one that's supposed to be easier to get is the 3050. The 3090 Ti is what they teased, but they didn't really give us any technical details. They just said,
And you know what? You know why they didn't? Because they know they don't have to.
What's really crazy is that $1,500 3090 that launched forever ago still sells for close to $3,000.
Yeah, and this one will sell for $5,000,
Whew.
and they know that. Intel also had some announcements, although this is the less exciting part of the announcement, as they blew the exciting part a long time ago. The really nice chips, these are the middle of the road and the laptops.
Intel announces 12th Gen Core Alder Lake, 22 new desktop S CPUs, 8 new laptop H CPUs. So things are a little weird with the desktop CPUs, as you probably know. You know, the high-end i9 can use 241 watts all the time. Well, the non-K, the non-overclocking parts, they'll still turbo up to over 200 watts, but that is a limited time duration.
And you got all that processing power, you're going to need a fast hard drive. And if you must have the fastest hard drive, Intel is going to take care of you there as well.
Intel demos lightning fast 13.8 gigabit PCIe 5.0 SSD with Alder Lake. This is on Tom's Hardware. I got hands-on with one of these. The video for that is probably out by now or will be out soon.
Hopefully is out by now.
Woo! These are Samsung enterprise-grade SSDs, but Phison is not far behind with their E26 PCIe 5 controller.
And not to be left out, AMD, of course, had to make their own announcements.
AMD announces Ryzen 6000 mobile CPUs for laptop Zen 3 Plus on 6 nanometers with RDNA 2 graphics. That's pretty exciting. There's a lot of products that are based around these Zen 3 APUs as well that were announced, like the Avaya Neo and a bunch of laptop designs, and the performance looks good and all this other kind of stuff. Really exciting. They also announced the 6500 GPU and some other stuff, and details are coming. I don't know.
Now that the NFTs in your Samsung TV will not be the only hot new item that you have to show off. However, this one I feel, I was thinking about this. How often do I change the batteries here? It's like once a year.
I feel like we change ours out maybe twice a year, but we use rechargeable batteries, so it's not really that big of a deal.
I don't know that this is really going to save the planet, but it is cool. It's cool that they can do this. Maybe it'll get better.
Samsung's new TV remote uses radio waves from your router to stay charged. Seems like a gimmick.
It has it says charges from solar energy too. Looks like is there a little solar panel on the back?
Not only that, but this is such a low power device. Remember those old solar calculators that would run just off of a regular light? This will as well. I mean, it's a remote control.
It's cool, but maybe not that cool.
What's going to happen is, like 5-6 years down the road, you're going to have a lithium-ion battery that's just annoying that you're going to have to deal with.
Yeah.
Although your TV's going to die way before then, right? Doesn't matter.
Just throw it in the dumpster like we do with everything else.
Just throw it in the dumpster, and then now because that's a lithium battery, you're not supposed to do that.
Oh yeah.
Do you think anybody ever pays attention to that?
No.
I don't.
My mom does.
There's probably just gouts of flame at the landfill. Asus had a little bit of a faux pas, and the support team apparently wasn't able to figure this out, whereas some random person on Reddit was.
Yay. YouTuber figured out Asus Z690 Hero motherboards melted down due to backwards capacitor. I think that was Buildzoid. He diagnosed the issues with pictures posted to Reddit and support forums. So the big capacitor there just above the memory slot, some Asus boards, they soldered it in backwards, which is non-fatal. It'll work for a little while until the regulator gives up the ghost and explodes.
We weren't sure until the update of that story whether or not that guy was right. Turns out Asus has commented on it, and while they didn't come right out and say it, they pretty much confirmed, yep, we screwed that up. Get in touch with us. I imagine that typing on one of these is going to be a nightmare.
It doesn't look fun.
You like those little 10 keyless keyboards.
I do.
I think those are also too small, too cramped.
I like the ones that have the function key row. The Model F that I have doesn't have the function key row, and I find myself missing the function key row.
Oh, my God. But it does have this little thing on the side. Now, Krista, maybe this is your kind of thing. Do you think you could benefit from this? I think it's like you can use a pen, right?
You use a pen on the other part, too.
I would almost rather just have the iPad, though. I mean...
I think this is a terrible idea.
Yeah. Lenovo ThinkBook Plus Gen 3 found a weird new place to add a second screen, and we're into it. I don't know that I am.
It's going to have so much
not level 1 text
palm smut on it.
Yeah. Well, and like drawing on that, your hand's going to be hanging off the edge of the thing anyway, so then it's going to be weird. Like, you're not going to be able to get a good angle.
It's definitely not made for left-handed people.
Yeah.
Oh, you think they make one on the left?
No. Left-handed people had to suffer.
Look how uncomfortable that looks.
That does look terrible. I bet they'll sell a piece that you can slide under there that...
I mean, what a waste, though. I mean, just why bother?
It's ridiculous. This is almost as bad as the foldable phones. I hope that doesn't catch on.
I remember being
it's going to.
So excited for the Microsoft IntelliMouse Explorer that had the thing, and they never made a left-handed version. I had to learn how to mouse with my right hand.
Are you talking about the one with the thumb ball?
Yeah. No. It was the big mouse, but it was like the bear claw. So it was a huge mouse that had huge buttons and a laser, and it was great. But they never made a left-handed version because it was sculpted to your right hand.
Okay. You ever try one of those vertical mice?
Not for any extended period of time. I mean, I've tried
Those are weird.
But
those are weird. Yeah.
I know somebody that's got a wrist injury that loves theirs.
I imagine we're all heading there, right?
Just slowly moving our way into arthritis.
Well, I have a Microsoft Surface, and I have no intention of ever putting Windows 11 on it. Why would you? It's really only for watching movies and checking the web when you first wake up. But Microsoft wants you to do it. They want you to do it a lot, and they're very disappointed in you.
30% of supported Surface devices don't have Windows 11 driver packages yet. So if you got a Surface and Microsoft says, yep, you can put Windows 11 on it, they haven't written the drivers for Windows 11 yet. You can still use the Windows 10 drivers somewhat, but it's not as good as, native Windows 10. Windows 11 with Windows 10 drivers is not great.
You know what I never noticed back in the day? I think the animators, like, they probably didn't get the best artists for that show. Carmen Sandiego has an amazing, like, her shoulders, her arms, her upper body. Look how big they are.
Yeah.
She's a brute with that tiny waist. She's like a bodybuilder.
That was kind of the 80s style, though. Like, women had shoulder pads and stuff. That was the silhouette of the time period.
If I was trying to blend into the crowd and I was a woman, I wouldn't want football shoulders like that.
I wouldn't want bright red. Because then it's like, where did that woman go? Yeah. And it's like, oh, you mean the one in the bright red coat? That way.
Yeah. The one in the bright red coat doing shoulder shrugs over in the corner all the time. Try to maintain that. Electronic vehicles continue. I got to say, do you think anybody is close to taking the brass ring away from Musk?
Not yet.
Was
Maybe
it the Chevy Bolt? They had to recall every single one of them.
Yeah.
Although, didn't Tesla have to recall a bunch too?
Yeah. They had some that were mismanufactured at their tent plant.
So that is, the electric vehicle right now is a rich person's game, pretty much. So it makes sense for this company to wade in.
Mercedes-Benz boasts a 620-mile range for its latest EV concept. The automaker claims solar panels on the roof can extend the range.
What an ugly thing, though.
There were two things that came out of CES for the electric car, and one of them was I think it was a Mercedes, but maybe not. There was one of the LiDAR companies was showing off their LiDAR installation in a high-end luxury car, and they had a little kid on a skateboard. It was like a cloth mock-up. And so they were like, let's see how that works with LiDAR. And so like the car was coming along and they threw the kid out in front of the car and the car stopped immediately. It was great. And then they set up the Tesla Model Y with the same kid. And this time they didn't throw it out in front of the car. They just left it in its lane and they had the LiDAR one in the other lane. And the LiDAR one stopped and the Tesla was just like...
accelerated.
Just ran it right over. So that was pretty fun.
Look at this dashboard. That's a crazy dashboard.
It is
because it's all just screens.
You think that's multiple displays?
Yeah, probably.
And one of them's going to go out?
Yeah,
Or you got gloves on because you're driving and it's cold and you can't hit the button.
You got to wear special $300 gloves.
Or just tell your driver to do it because you don't drive his car yourself.
Oh, yeah. I was rambling because I thought that was the last story, but it wasn't the last story at all.
So, no, in fact...
We've got a lot of stories this week for business.
If you cannot afford the... Mercedes electric vehicle, then maybe you can wait for the General Motor one, except that the price here is not available because this version, this price in the headline doesn't come out for a while. The actual first price is going to be $109,000.
Chevy Silverado EVs reveals GM's best-selling truck goes electric, up to 400 miles of range, and starting price of $39,900.
There it is.
Of course, the dealer premium on top of the $39,900 is going to be another $39,900.
It just looks like Silverado. I hate modern trucks though. Like, look at this little.
What the hell are you supposed to haul in that?
That's ridiculous. Like, why? This is just an SUV. This is an SUV, and they cut a part of the roof off.
Because it's people who don't actually need trucks, right? It's just people who like the idea of a truck and never have to haul anything.
I often get stopped in parking lots because my Silverado is a 2011, and it has the single cab, which is you can't get anymore. And some guys will be like, "You looking to sell that single cab?" Because people want it. People want a single cab, but no, they don't make them anymore.
Did you see the video of this?
It is amazing.
It's really cool.
But you can't buy it. First of all, let's just put it out there. You can't buy this.
Pretty sure I saw this in Knight Rider.
There's nothing close to production, and I don't think they'll ever make this.
No, because it's too much of a liability.
And it's going to be $1 billion. This is got to be crazy expensive.
BMW debuts its new color-changing paint technology at CES. Now you too can have a camouflage car so that other cars can't see you.
I'm thinking more like a car hit me and it was gray, but it was turning white as I drove away.
But also, did I get I don't know if I changed that or not. But also, let's say a cop hits you with the radar. And then by the time he gets you, he's like, "Oh, I thought that was a silver car." And he's like, "Oh, wait, this is the color-changing BMW that everybody knows about."
Double fines.
And we have cameras.
Yeah.
That'll be fun for the DMV to have to update the color field.
Plus, also, there's all those traffic stops where the cops like, you can't have your iPad mounted in the middle like that. And it's like, this is a Model Y. I can't
remove it.
Those super cops who are always busting you because of the tint on your windows. It's like, I'm sorry, sir. You were changing colors at an intersection, and that's illegal.
I saw one of those where the guy had a tint meter in his car, and he's like, here's the thing. And it was like, you clip it on the side of the glass, and it was within the legal limit. And the guy was just like,
But I'm sure the cop would be like, I don't know who calibrated that. Here's your ticket.
Yeah.
The only videos I saw of this were white to gray and gray to white. Is there any other colors so far?
It only goes from white to black and everything in between. So a color version, they said like maybe they would work on it, but again, they don't expect anybody to buy this.
No. That's like a mod you get in GTA, but not in real life.
Because the color changing paint that just is the refractive color changing paint, that stuff is it's like $500 a gallon or something like that. Whew. It's crazy.
Oh, I've got a small chip on the side that's going to be about $1,000 to fix.
Maybe even more than that, because now there's going to be an electrical component, right? Yeah. Or a rock hit the hood, and now all the electronics are off. I would kind of like to play with one of these things, but the amount of time you would have to dedicate to teaching yourself this, how long do you think it would take you just to get to your current word per minute?
See, I don't know, because I didn't type correctly when I was younger, and it took me about 6 months to learn to type correctly. And with this, I think I could probably be 6 months, a year, maybe. Would it be worth it?
That's still a lot of time to invest, but it will make you blindingly fast at typing if you put in the work.
This keyboard lets people type so fast it's banned from typing competitions. What was the name of it? I was like, yes, I want to try this, but then it was like $400, and I was like, ooh.
Not that much. I don't want to try that much.
Caracorder, yeah. So this is a cording type keyboard, so you can basically do multiple keystrokes at once. But yeah, 500 words per minute if you with some practice.
That was the CEO, and he submitted it to a competition, and they said that's impossible. And he submitted a video, and they said no, that's cheating.
That keyboard's not a standard keyboard.
Also, I didn't know there was competitive typing, but of course there is.
Well, how would there not be?
Yeah.
Come on. If there's competitive
That's the real
hot
story.
dog eating, Krista.
Yeah.
And this is the one kind of social media story that I was just like, yeah, put that somewhere else, because I'm not doing a whole section just for one story. And this is not even a big story. And it was updated, and they're saying it's not true.
Report, Meta pulls the plug on its AR/VR operating system, updated to say it's not dead yet. It doesn't want to go on the cart.
It doesn't want to go on the cart, but they want it to go on the cart.
But they definitely did have like a 300-person team that they have now pulled off of this.
Wow.
I'm feeling better.
I bet that's really frustrating for someone who's really excited about VR, and it's like, we're just going to throw you on like the social media division. It's like, no.
I think I'll go for a walk.
I think if you've already been at Facebook for 4 or 5 months, that's probably the least of the things that you're angry about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Krista, you have talked about solar roofing,
Right.
and you seem to be very much on the fence about it. Perhaps this new technology could move you ahead, because it does seem like it's going to make it easier to install, which is a big part of the cost.
New solar roof emulates asphalt shingles right down to the nails. I missed this story.
So in your house hunt, and maybe somebody else we know their house hunt, they found a couple houses that had solar, but in at least one case, the solar was installed on top of a roof that was well past its replace by date. And if
So you have to remove all of the panels and then
reinstall them.
put your new roof on and then reinstall the panels again.
And when the time comes that roof has to be replaced, do it all again.
Yeah.
But the solar panels are the roofing material, and they're thinner and they can be walked on, unlike traditional solar panels. So they might be onto something with this. These are also 40-watt panels, which changes the rules for the underwriter's lab and the electrical part of it, and makes it a little safer. So the inverter situation is safer. It doesn't require cables that are as big. It does require more cables and more interconnects, but it's a little different situation than other types of solar panels as far as the electrical connection goes.
I think if I were ever to do solar, I would probably actually want it closer to the ground because it's easier to maintain that way. Because I have a family friend of ours who lives off grid, and they have solar panels, but they have them on the ground because if it snows, like what we got the other day, you have to go out and sweep them. And you don't want to get on the roof during that.
Yeah, but you're gonna go outside and there's gonna be feral cats lounging on your solar panel.
Yeah. That's the price you pay
When I went
for being grid independent.
When I went, my Corvette, I really baby it. Like, I don't drive it in the rain. I won't drive it this entire week because there'll be salt. And I took it to my parents' house because I don't trust the truck on long trips. And I came out to get something out of it, and it was just covered with cats.
Oh.
There were 4 cars sitting there, and they explicitly chose the Corvette.
Were you happy or sad about that?
No, because it's got paw prints all over it now.
That's cute. Think how cute your car's going to be going down
yeah.
the road.
Now, I remember we did a story about this. I believe this says it like it's an allegation. Wasn't it proven that they were making these payments?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we know that this is absolutely true.
They came out in one of the other court cases. That's one of the things Lena Khan's working on.
It's just that, so we know that it's true, but is it something that you can sue for, I guess, is the only question.
Is it an FTC violation?
It's got to be.
Lawsuit says Google pays Apple to keep away from the internet search market. So it's a complicated business relationship, but basically it seems tantamount to that, is what Payments is saying. Guess we'll see in the lawsuit.
Yeah, and they're saying that whole thing is obviously anti-competitive.
How could it not be?
It certainly seems that way. So they're looking to get a lawsuit, and they're trying to make it class action. Because everybody's affected. Who's not affected by this?
Certainly 87% of teens that have phones.
And I also saw some stories that were disputing this. Did you see the dispute stories?
Yes.
Some people claim it's still around. I didn't bother to check.
I think it's taken a new form. Beta News says, "Rip popcorn time. The quote-unquote Netflix of piracy is no more." So the authors of this stated that, well, there's waning interest. And I believe that. There probably is waning interest in popcorn time because there are much better alternatives now that are way more underground.
But we shouldn't talk about them.
We will not be talking about those.
And this is probably not a huge blow to the chip shortage, but it's certainly going to pile on. It's the kind of thing we don't need right now.
Chip manufacturing equipment vendor ASML reports fire at a Berlin factory. So they've issued a report and said we're basically, after this, said that they're basically okay. But if you've never heard of these people, both Intel and Taiwan, and probably Taiwan, the Semiconductor Manufacturing Corporation, and probably also Samsung, this is the company that makes the extreme ultraviolet bulbs, for at the risk of oversimplifying what they are, that all of chip making uses for their ultra high density lithography. So that company's incredibly important. Also, it said they have 1,200 employees, but they pulled down $6.9 billion last year. I hope everybody in that company is a multi-millionaire.
Something
They're
tells
making
me
a lot of
no.
money. Yeah. They're probably all paid like minimum wage.
And this is not a surprise. We knew that Huawei was hurting. They kind of kept a brave face on there for a while. But at the end of the year, when the numbers come out, they're not good.
Sanction-hit Huawei says revenues are down 29% this year. Yeah, they're not allowed to sell to anybody. And they're also not allowed to buy things.
That'll hurt you in business.
Yeah.
As it turns out.
It's very important to be able to sell your product. Critical, some would say. And this is a story.
Follow-up?
Well, we've been following this up since we've been doing Level 1 News. One of the first things we talked about in Level 1 News was Amazon and their campaign to destroy the library system. Here we are. When did we start doing this? 2017?
2016.
5-6 years later, and I don't think that the people have gained any ground in that fight.
They've gained a tiny little bit of ground in Maryland.
Like one pinky toe.
Yeah.
But Amazon is fighting back as hard as they can.
Libraries demand a new deal on ebooks. So this is kind of a follow-up to the story. There's a law, a state law in Maryland now that publishers like Amazon, because Amazon is a publisher, whether you like it or not, have to offer ebooks for reasonable deals to libraries, recognizing that ebooks have DRM and controls and that kind of thing that print books don't have. You can buy an ebook that's non-transferable. I mean, that sort of throws the whole first sale doctrine on its head. If I buy a book and the publisher can't control how I resell the book, as long as I am not making a copy of the book or anything like that. So a library can buy a book and lend it out. That's been a thing since we formed these great United States, and even before then.
And they pay a lot for them, too.
Yeah. Well, they pay extra voluntarily to not fight with the publishing industry. But they don't. The publishing industry is like, no, the line must be drawn here, this far, no farther for ebooks. Because ebooks are convenient, and the publishing industry is scared to death that people will just borrow books from the library, read them, and return them rather than actually buy them.
And people are motivated to go through. The library borrowing system is kind of a pain.
Yeah.
But people are now motivated because they're stuck at home.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people use the library, even just for non-book related stuff.
The library is a great thing and should be preserved and protected from the likes of Jeff Bezos.
None of us are in this situation, but should we ever be living without internet, I would be at the library every day.
All the time, yeah.
Yeah, because that's the one place you can go to get free internet.
Well, and even just like, if you're in a position where maybe you're homeless or you're living out of your car and you need a warm place to stay for a little bit just to like bide some time, you go to the library.
I think they discourage that, Kristen.
They do, but like it's a public place. You should be able to be in certain public places without needing to pay money.
They could ask you to leave if your scent is too overpowering.
It's too overpowering, but...
Well, here's an interesting court case. I think I know how it's going to go, but I don't know if I agree with it. Even though you have to side with the non-cheaters, the argument is, I made something that affects something that you made. Should you now have control over it? I don't think so.
Activision goes to court to stop Call of Duty cheat software. Engine-owning software helps tens of thousands of cheaters, lawsuit alleges. So I think if in the terms of service of using their online thing, it says you won't do that, then okay, maybe there's something.
But what if I say I never bought their product? I guess I'd have to make this, wouldn't I?
Yeah.
If I could somehow prove that I did this blindly without owning Call of Duty, maybe I could have an argument. But yeah, it is disgusting, and I'm sure, well, there's no chance that at least one of you that's watching this doesn't do this. Why?
The feeling of power.
There's
no other feeling of power in their life, so they must do this.
Yeah, and that is the most pathetic human being, except for the people who do this when you're not wearing a mask. That's who you are, by the way. That's who you are. You're the Karen. You're the Karen who needs that power dose. Don't be that. Be better.
There's no details in this article, and that's so frustrating.
Well, it's so far out. But they did this with Lord of the Rings as well.
Lord of the Rings is supposed to be released like late next year, and they still haven't really released any marketing info for it outside of like a single image.
Wheel of Time was maybe like my favorite thing that Amazon has done so far. It's watchable, but they really betrayed the source material.
I have no hopes for the Lord of the Rings series at all.
We'll find out about Lord of the Rings. When does that come out?
Like end of next year. Or end of this year, rather, I guess. It's 2022 now.
And so now we have another franchise that they have purchased the rights to for them to ruin.
Amazon's Fallout TV series is about to enter production. That's all we know. They bought the rights. They have the rights. That's all we know.
And that's for sure a screenshot from Fallout 4, not from
anything.
It's going to be live action, I imagine.
Yeah. The thing about the Lord of the Rings series that's scary is that they're adapting a time period that doesn't have as much written material for it. So it's got like a tale of years, which is like just a chronological detail of what everything happened. And then there's a few short stories in that period, but not much else. And I'm like, they're not going to be able to connect the dots on that.
Guess who it is?
He's also angry.
He loves Fallout. You know who he loves? He loves the tunnel snakes.
Oh, he's really loud today.
It's the first time we've heard him for 2022.
For all winter so far.
That's the boiler snake, in case you're new.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome, new people.
And our final story. Now, is there not a rule about financing somebody else's lawsuits?
I thought there was.
It's very, but you can do it because remember when Hulk Hogan sued Gawker?
Yeah.
Another guy funded that.
Yeah.
But it's very specific. You have to be like inside the lines. You can't benefit from the settlement, I think, right?
Yeah.
In this case, I think they would.
Yeah.
I think this is going to get a big court battle of whether or not this should even exist.
Tech startup wants to gamify suing people using crypto tokens.
What a punchable face. I can't remember the German word, but it translates to punchable face.
So, what they're saying is if you are someone who cannot afford a lawsuit, then you can kind of come here and crowdfund it through cryptocurrency. I think what's going to happen here is like that internet sleuthing is going to happen, and they're going to get the wrong guy.
Yeah.
And then some guy's going to raise a bunch of money to sue them. And then they're going to figure out it's not true, but they're like, well, I already got the money. Might as well just sue them.
Let's just go forward.
Let's just really clog up the court system, which is already struggling.
And the judge is like, do what now? How did this happen? What's going on?
What kind of ape is this?
This is the mutant ape, sir. This is not the Bored Ape Yacht Club. All right, what do we got for... I'm really looking forward to Friday because there's a lot of nonsense.
Security and nonsense.
And see, the best nonsense stories are the ones where they're presented not as nonsense, but are in fact nonsense, and we have a lot of those.
Yeah, there's a great one from NBC.
VPN one?
That's, I would love to go back and... Well, we'll talk about it when it happens.
Yeah.
I was getting angry reading that. And then I was like, oh, this is in the nonsense section. Okay, I'm fine. And I calm right down.
You didn't have to take a hate nap?
On NBC.com, that's not in the nonsense section.
All right, we'll see you guys then. Bye!